it's getting close to the weekend, so back onto my Shudder trek. So, starting to see a few films that I've done starting to drop off, so it's interesting to see what kind of falls away as I review them, so something I'm going to be kind of paying attention to just to see what I almost missed out on. Most notable so far was Lost Soul, the Richard Stanley documentary, which I'm really glad I saw because that was interesting. Turns out actually I like a lot of horror documentaries. I did not know that about myself. But that's all completely irrelevant to what I'm going to be talking about today, and that is Revenge. Now, Revenge is a 2017 French film, and with a title like that, and a quick glance at the summary, I had a feeling what I was in for. Another rape revenge film. Yup. So, I had to brace myself for that one. But I will say, of the many I have seen, which is sad to say that I have seen many of them, this one actually didn't really focus as much on the rape itself. The sexual exploitation was much more, I don't know if you could say tastefully done, but they shot it in a way where it's not lingered on nearly as much as Last House on the Left or Hills Have Eyes or I Spit on Your Grave, definitely. So overall, that was better done. This one definitely has a lot more male nudity, oddly, so good on it for that. I mean, one of the climaxes is the main girl chasing around one of the main problem characters. Hers with a gun while he's completely naked. She's just pretty much in her underwear, so it's a scene, and pretty much they're wearing blood by that point. This is a very gory film. Okay, so the synopsis on IMDb is misleading as hell. So, which reads, "Never take your mistress on an annual guy's getaway, especially one devoted to hunting. A violent lesson for 3 wealthy married men." Okay, so that's not very accurate. So, our main, so Jen, our lead, is pretty much on a tryst with her married lover, Richard. Now this says a hunting weekend thing. Yeah, that is there, but essentially his two friends. So she was going to leave, and then his two friends were coming up for hunting the next, so the day after she left, or the day she was leaving. But they arrived early, so they essentially just spent the night kind of partying. So it's not like she was intentionally bringing her along on this. His dopey friends just showed up early. And she's getting drunk, having fun, kind of does a bit of a sexy dance and teases one of them. And the next day, he rapes her. After her boyfriend pretty much left her alone with these 2 strange guys. One of them pretty much just didn't really participate, but he was just kind of walked in, saw what was happening, then just stared at it for a second, just turned away and walked away. So he didn't help. And all he did was turn up the music. It was really, these people are pretty repugnant. Well, so after her boyfriend gets back, finds out what happens, he pretty much tries to pay to make her go away, which she's not having, and then because he doesn't want to be liable for the whole and go to jail over this, so he's, especially when she then threatens to tell his wife, and they have a chase through the desert, and he pretty much shoves her off a cliff. And she gets impaled on a tree. And then after that, they come back, she's gone, and is now hunting them. Okay. So, there's a lot good here. I do like how they didn't linger on that, on the rape, and the gratuitous violence is satisfying as she does hunt these guys down. It is seeing her recovery thing was a little, her trying to, is it to pull herself out there was inventive, but just it was hard to imagine her surviving that initial impact as she gets clearly impaled clear through. And while she does essentially sear her wounds closed later while on some intense drugs to bear with it, it's the fact that how much running around she's doing right after that and fighting is a little hard to take. Especially since she did dispatch one of them while still having a tree sticking out of her. I do like how she pretty much becomes like a silent, almost horror movie killer towards the end, where after after she gets dropped, she doesn't have a line after that. It's just her occasionally screaming or grunting, but it does kind of work in this case. My main problem here is kind of at the beginning, because this all happens very quickly. It's like 20 minutes in and suddenly we're here. So I would have liked to have gotten to know her a little bit better so I could sympathize with her, because right now she just seems like, at the beginning she seems kind of like a stereotypical mistress. So she knows that he's married. She doesn't care. She's having an affair with him, fine, and then she's doing all she can to just play up being sexy. So it's like, I'm not trying to victim blame her, because no. But she doesn't have much of a character at the beginning beyond that. So she's, if we'd learned anything about her before this, other than she's from LA, that's it. But and see a little bit more of her personality, just other than her just here for a good time. I mean, you can even do just her being here for a good time, but get a little bit of character development on her. No one here is very well developed. The IMDb thing says 3 married men. I have no idea if the other 2 guys were married. I don't know anything about them other than they're his friends. We know nothing about them. Which, okay, that's fine. Knowing a little bit about him was enough. But that's all we know. So it's a little shaky there. That stops it from being higher up. The gore scenes are very well done. It is very bloody, and I will say a little inventive at times for some of the things I have to go through, but a lot of characters, good and bad in this one, seem to have a crazy pain tolerance, though. Once they recover from something, they seem more or less fine. For example, the guy who raped her while chasing her later steps on some glass. A big shark gets embedded completely in his foot. His foot's cut completely open. He spends a while reaching and grabbing off, and then after that, while he is limping, he's able to pretty much drive on that foot without having any real issues. So that you can see it bleeding, but he's not really reacting much to it. So the pain tolerance on everyone in this movie is crazy. I can let her go a little bit because of the peyote, but otherwise. Also, the movie has one of the strangest lines towards the beginning that it's one of those things that's going to stick with me for, I have no idea why. Maybe it makes more sense in French, since, like I said, this is a French movie, but like mostly it's spoken in English, but every so often, like the 3 men are French and she's American, so they will occasionally be speaking French to each other. So maybe it makes more sense there. But when he's lying in bed with her earlier, he just talked about how he loves her ass. Okay, fine. Refers to it as a peachy, juicy ass. Okay, sure, I've heard that before. But then he followed up like an alien come from space. What? How is her alien like a friend come from, like an alien come from space? I don't get that line. It is such a strange line. Okay, booty aliens aside, this movie's fine. And I'll give it a 6 MacGuffins. It is above average. If it had cleaned up a little bit of the flaws, but a little bit tighter at the beginning, maybe giving it like 5-10 more minutes before all hell broke loose, I would give this one I could probably give this one a 7, but as it stands, I can give it a 6. So revenge, if you're gonna go for a rape revenge film, you can do a lot worse. While I will say, I Spit on Your Grave and Last House on the Left, Hills Have Eyes are all probably better films. They are sleazier. This one definitely does tone that aspect down quite a bit. So I'd say if you're not here for the if you're here for the revenge and not the rape, this is probably the one to go for. Okay, about all I have on this one. I'll see you guys soon.